Hi guys, in the previous video we introduced the interior angle sum theorem of a triangle, and what that means is angles in a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. And then we also introduced the exterior angle theorem. We say that an exterior angle will be equal to the sum of two interior angles non-adjacent to it. So what that means is if you have a triangle, right? Let's say I have a triangle. Let me draw a simple triangle here. Sometimes they extend this and they call this angle maybe angle A, right? So this is an exterior angle. So these are interior angles. So let me label the interior angles with like a different color, say, and this is another angle. Let me call this angle M. So A and M are adjacent. They're next to one another, right? So we call them adjacent. So when I say non-adjacent, it means angles that are not next to. So meaning this exterior angle A will be equal to the sum of two non-adjacent interior angles. So meaning the measure of angle A should be equal to the measure of angle K plus the measure of angle J. Whenever you see this, really, it means angle. M means measure, meaning it could be 60, the measure, like we're talking about quantity, right? And this shouldn't really threaten you, it just means angle, really, nothing there. What's the measure of angle? 1. So I know for a fact if we use the triangle angle sum, the angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So meaning if I add 24, right, plus 37 plus this angle here that I don't know, let me call it angle 1, measure of angle 1. This has to give me 180 degrees, right? So 24 plus 37, what do you get? You get 61. So 61 plus the measure of angle 1 should give me 180 degrees. Guys, feel free to replace the measure of angle 1 with x, with y, whatever you prefer, but I want to leave it as the measure of angle 1 because that's what they are looking for. So I'll subtract 61 both sides of the equation. So this gives me 119. So the measure of angle 1 is 119. So this angle there is 119 degrees. What about this angle 1 here? I can replace this with x if it will make my life easy. But the question is, what theory are we going to use to get angle 1? We don't know this angle right there. We don't know that angle right there. So this theory would be the exterior angle theory, which states that the one exterior angle, the measure of an exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. So this angle here is equal to the sum of those two angles, this and this. So meaning measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of the two interior non-adjacent angles. So 76 plus 52, 128. 128 degrees. So that is how we apply those two theorems that we just, let's move on to a few more examples. Okay, so what about this example right there? They're telling us to get the missing angles, right? And let's start with angle 1. So sometimes they give us two triangles. Let me call this triangle 1 and call this triangle 2, right? So that's the triangle 1. How do we get this angle there? Let me call it angle let me call this triangle A such that we don't confuse them with 1 and 2. So let me call this triangle A and triangle B. So how do you get measure of angle 1, right? Let me pull out triangle A's like, right? They're telling me that this one here is 66. This here is 84. What are we left with to make 180? Because we know the sum of angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So to get the measure of angle 1 right there, if you've seen what I was showing you, to get this angle right there, it will be 180 minus 150, which will give you 30. So this angle 1 there is 30 degrees. Feel free to pause the video and try to work it out by yourself, but this is what I've got. What about angle 2, right? And it's okay to first get angle 3 if you want to, what about angle 3? Whatever is easier for you. Now to get angle 2, I'm going to consider the bigger triangle, this one here. Let me put it in purple. Triangle there. So I know this angle here is 66, right? That's 66. I know this angle there is 43. What about this remaining angle that has 1 and 2, right? I know part of it is 30. What about the remaining part? After getting this whole angle, I will subtract off the 30 and get 2, yeah? So I have a 43, and this will give me 109. So to get this angle here, this whole angle it will be 180 minus 109. I will be left with 71. So this whole angle there is 71 in purple. But I know 1 is 30. What about 2? The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 has to give me 71. But I know angle 1 is 30, so 30 plus the measure of angle 2 that I'm looking for has to give me a 71. So meaning the measure of angle 2 is equal to 71 minus 30, so give me a 41. So this is 41. So I know this whole angle here is 71, this whole angle is 66. What about angle 3? Right there. How do you get it? Yeah, there are two ways of getting angle 3 actually. One way is considering this triangle here. Let me put it in blue. Triangle. You remember this triangle that we initially called B? Very interesting about this. So this triangle there, because I know, right? I know that this part here is 43. What about this remaining part? That's one way, using the angle sum. Another way would be, right, this angle 3, it's an exterior angle to this. If you're looking at triangle A, right, this is triangle A, this angle 3 has to equal to 66 plus 30, which is 96. Either way, because it's an exterior angle to this is the adjacent angle, so it's equal to the sum of two non-adjacent interior angles, which are this and this. So if you add 66 plus 30, you will get 96, right? Trust me, when you pause the video and take it bits by bits, it will make more sense. And then let's look at another example. What about this example? They want us to get angle 2 is right here. Do you know vertical angles? Vertical angles are angles right opposite one another. So angle 2, just by looking at it, is 61. They have what reason? They are vertical angles. And mind you, there could be so many reasons why this angle is 61. I'll tell you more about that. But these are two vertical angles. Whenever you have a cross like that, these two angles, as long as these are two straight lines, these two angles are the same. This angle there and that angle there are the same. And then these angles there and that angle also the same. They're called vertical angles. So angle 2 is 61. Those are vertical angles. And if I look at angle 1, I can get angle 1 by getting the angle sum in a triangle. Has to add up to 180. If I have this upper triangle, let me call it triangle A, what is left to make 180? Right there, that's your angle 1. So I'm having a 61, I'm having a 68, that's 9, 129. To make 180, right, I will have to have 7 minus 2, 51. So angle 1 has to be a 51. Feel free to use your calculator and see if you get a 51. What about angle 3? I know this from my previous video, you know this is 90 degrees. These are perpendicular, right? So this is assigned to me 90 degrees. So I already have angle 2 as 61. This is 90 degrees. What is left to make 180? That is 29. So pretty easy like that. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to pause the video, apply those two properties until they make sense, and I will see you in my next video.